Hi, I'm Jerry Ganfield, Interim Director at the Steele County Historical Society, and today I welcome you to the Mark Hill Donnell House at the Village of Yesteryear. It was built in 1868-69, shortly after the end of the Civil War when he came to Minnesota. Why don't we go in and see what life was like then? One of the new inventions that came about 1880 was this Edison phonograph. And it's quite different, but man, it was different for us because we had never heard recorded sound before. And what they did was take wax, make into cylinders, and put a needle on here, and then it would project the sound through this bell. And that was the state of the art in 1880 till about 1890. And today you would probably have music through a radio or a CD player, a cell phone, or an MP3 player. Let's go into the kitchen and see what's different there. This is our new stove, and it's really enjoyed by the cook because we have 6 different places to heat our food. We have a reservoir for our water, and we use coal or wood to fire it up and bake our bread. Nowadays, of course, on the stove, you probably have electricity, or you might have gas. We didn't have gas back then, not till much later. And of course, because we didn't have electricity, we had an ice box. We had to have the iceman bring ice to the house. Well, in the summer, every day, we put our ice up top because, as you know, cold air goes down, and the air would go down and cool our milk and butter and cream and anything else we had. Let's look at one more thing that changed our lives in Owatonna, and that was the coming of the telephone. This is our first telephone, and it operated by ringing a crank. And so each party had a different ring. Ours was 2 longs and a short. It sounded like this. And you would go pick up, you'd talk into the mouthpiece, and you could listen here. But the problem was there were about 9 other people on our line, and they could listen to what you said. Not very private. And if people liked to gossip for a while, you had a hard time using the phone. So that's changed too, because today you probably have a cell phone, or your parents have a cell phone. Well, welcome to another building in the Village of Yesteryear. This is the schoolhouse. It was District 14 when it was out in the country. Why don't we go in and see how school was different then than now. This is a 1-room schoolhouse, so we had all 8 grades in this room. The smaller desk for the smaller kids, and the bigger desk here as you grew older and went to 8th grade, usually in a rural schoolhouse. And you used a slate to write your exercises on, whether it's math or spelling, you would write on a slate. If you were an older kid, you would take pen, and you had an inkwell. You'd dip your pen into the ink, and then you'd write on paper. It took something to master this kind of writing with ink. We didn't have something like you might have today, like a ballpoint pen or a number 2 pencil. And the teacher also used a slate. The teacher would write name on the blackboard to introduce herself or himself. Most teachers in the country schools were single women, but there were occasional men who were teachers. And they always featured Abraham Lincoln and George Washington as pictures in the school. Welcome to another building in the Village of Yesteryear. This is a general store, and that's just what it was. It sold generally everything. Let's go ahead and take a look. If you look around, you'll see it sold groceries, it sold dresses, suits, it sold musical instruments, even they sold a bicycle at the general store. Outside you might have seen a gas tank because we pumped gas for the new vehicles. And all sorts of shoes, sewing machines. It was today, this version would be a Target or a Walmart, but this general store sold everything. Let's look at some of the new inventions that came back then. You may have seen something like this, a washboard, and you would scrub your clothes on the washboard. That's before you had modern day washing machines. We have some new ones here. We have one that you could spend your time turning the tub to agitate the clothes in the water and the soap. You had another one over here you could pump to agitate the clothes. And you had one here that was operated by a hose from your, if you had running water, you could operate that with a hose. All new things. And then we had a vacuum cleaner. Now we didn't have electricity for any of these units, so we had to depend on something else. In this case, this vacuum cleaner is a hand pump. You create your vacuum yourself. And I just hope you don't have a lot of carpet to vacuum. Today you would have an electric one, and you might even have one that runs itself. That's how things have changed. When you get done with your laundry and your vacuum, you hang your laundry on a rack. Now you might take it outside and put on a line, but a lot of days it wasn't fit to hang outside, so you had a rack to hang your clothes on and dry inside. Now we're at the last stop on our Then and Now tour, the gazebo of the Denal House. Back then, this is a place where we come to catch the breezes in the summertime. Now today, we probably have air conditioning. We appreciate your coming and joining us at the Village of Yesteryear for this Now and Then tour, and we hope you'll come to see the entire village real soon. Thank you for joining us.